Hi all, welcome to the podcast Astrology Blueprint, and welcome to my YouTube channel as well. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm trying to do these simultaneously again, the recording of a video and a podcast, so bear with me. This episode is going to focus on the new moon in Capricorn that we have coming up on the 13th of God, what month are we in? 13th of January. If you're in the UK, likely the late hours of the 12th of January if you're in the rest of the world. I've got my moon phase book here with me, and if you've ordered yours and got yours with you, then these podcast episodes are really good at helping you unlock the code, your unique kind of code to manifest your dreams by using the power of the new moons and full moons. So the new moons I always find far more exciting, I've got to be honest, than the full moons, which are just a bit heavy and a bit emotional. I would say that because the moon rules my chart, so it always just makes me cry. But the new moons I find like real kind of Aries energy, real seeds of hope and new beginnings, and just that pure enthusiasm, really. So not seeing results, but just setting out new plans and ideas for the next 6 months. That's how the new moon and full moon cycles work, is that you plant a seed at the new moon cycle, and then 6 months later we receive the full moon in the same sign that that new moon was in, which is when we... Sorry, I've just seen my phone's ringing. God, trying to do this without distraction. So where are we? Just triple checking all the data. January 2021, 13th at 5:01 a.m. in the UK, as I said. The new moon is going to be at 23 degrees of Capricorn, and this is a really interesting one because despite the symbolism of that, which is what I will talk about and what I usually talk about in these episodes, and what Capricorn represents in your life and potential houses this may fall in for you, and therefore the areas of life through which you might experience this new burst of energy and inspiration. It's very interesting to note that the massive astrological energies of last year, so the Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto conjunction, or I should say Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction, because that's the order in which the planets fall, was at 22 degrees of Capricorn. So this new moon is a kind of, as much as the full moon is a culmination point, it's a reflection of how much you've learned in the 12 months of last year, which suddenly, now that we're in 2021, feel very much like they went really quickly, but they didn't feel like it at the time. There were so many governmental imposures, is that the right word, last year. Very Capricorn energy, being told what to do, listening to the rules, abiding by the rules or not. I think last year there was a lot more abiding by the rules than there will be in the coming years, due to Saturn and Jupiter now being in Aquarius, which is much more the rebel, the freedom lover and the humanitarian, whereas Capricorn is very much sticking to the rules, playing safe, listening to our elders or people in power. We already see this change, but I think I need to do a separate video really about the Aquarius energies and the rebellion that is prominent and like ever present, really, isn't it? Like suddenly it's all over the world. People aren't going to listen or be told what to do anymore. And the people will rise up against the authority. So the people being Aquarius energies and the authorities being Capricorn. Just stressing that point again and again. So yeah, whatever you learned last year, and a good way to look at this in an astrological sense is to look at your birth chart and look for 22 degrees of Capricorn and see where this fell in your birth chart. So when I say where this fell, I mean which house 22 degrees of Capricorn is in. If you don't know, you can always send me a message on Instagram and ask me, or you can send me an email. I think my email address is on Instagram, but if it's not, what is my email address? God. It's F and then a full stop and then torndesigns@gmail.com. There we go. So Torn Designs, all one word, TORN, designs with an S on the end. I think it's really important, isn't it? Lots of people have been sharing their various forms of communication details recently, because social media seems to be taking a real nosedive, and as much as I'm not going off of social media, I can see that there's lots of interference with the ways in which we communicate with one another, which I think is really negative right now, because in the UK at least, we're in another lockdown, and being able to stay in touch with people via the internet is a godsend in my mind. Being able to actually just have that kind of connection with people, which the government seems so hell-bent on taking away from us. That's not to take away from the seriousness of the virus, etc. But yeah. So yeah, look for where 22 degrees of Capricorn is in your birth chart, which house this fell in, and this should give you the area of life that was undergoing deep transformation, rigid structures. You may have found lots of barriers, lots of life lessons. It's a very kind of teaching vibe. Saturn is the teacher and ruler of time, so things which may have taken some time to work through last year. And there was 3 hits of Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn as well, remember. So we had the first hit in January, then we had the retrograde, which I think was April from memory. Don't quote me on that. And then the final one was in November. And often when you get the retrograde, so you get the 3 movements over the same degrees, it's like the first one is shocking and surprising and sparks us up to do something about initiating change. The second one, the retrograde, takes us back, makes us look at the details. What have we missed out? What have we not considered? Where can we maybe change the plan to fit us better for our ultimate life purpose? And because Pluto was travelling with them as well, he's very much about make sure this is for true, authentic reasons that you're doing these things, that you're taking on these life changes. Make sure he takes you really down to the shit, down to absolute darkness, to help force a change, because he obliterates and eliminates where we have outgrown something. So it's like shedding a new skin, really, or not shedding an old skin for a new skin. And maybe it's not even a new skin, maybe it's new, like what do you call those things? Mermaid scales, or, you know, this is the age of Aquarius, so let's think outside the box. New fancy gold plating or something, different forms of skin. So I've been watching a lot of Julia Donaldson films lately. She's like a kids author. She did The Gruffalo and things like that, and there's a mermaid in one of those, and she's awesome. She's inspired me. Yeah, so look back to 22 degrees of Capricorn, where this was in your birth chart, and then see if it was interacting with any natal planets. That would be the next thing to do. So if it was within 8 degrees of any natal planets, this is a conjunction. So this is where the energies are working well together to help achieve a desired goal. Trine and a sextile. So a trine is it 90 degrees? No. 120 degrees away, give or take 8 degrees of leeway. Sextile is 60 degrees. That's right, yeah, because it's 2 signs away. Opposition is exactly opposite, so 180, isn't it? Half of 360. So yeah, opposition is a tense aspect, and this could have felt much more difficult to go through than if you're experiencing a conjunction or a sextile or a trine. Sorry, that phone call is trying to come in again. Maybe I should go and answer it. Notice how I haven't, though. Yeah, so if there was any natal aspects from last year's Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn at 22 degrees, then this also would have had a psychological effect. So it's like astrology can be used to build a bigger picture. So you can go simplistic and look at the house placement, and this actually gives you so much information that it's enough. Or you can, if you're feeling like you really want to kind of get those brain cogs turning and embrace the Mercury in Aquarius and lots of ideas about, you know, quite odd random things, the occult and astrology. Astrology is a very Aquarius energy or topic. Then you can start looking at the other things like how it interacts with your natal planets and then aspects as well. And then moving on to this new moon coming up on the 13th or the 12th, depending on where you are in the world. It's at 23 degrees, so it's 1 degree away from last year. So it's very much a new beginning based on what you learned last year. And unfortunately, not all the fun is over with yet, as we find Pluto is such a slow moving planet that Pluto is still at 23 degrees of Capricorn. So this new moon is not only going to be travelling with the sun at 23 degrees of Capricorn, it's also going to be travelling with Pluto. So there's deep transformation, and again that shedding of the skin, and the shedding of the skin can be uncomfortable. The thing with Pluto is that in a sense he's like a more serious and a darker version than Saturn, in that he does really deliver and moves us on for our ultimate evolution, but he doesn't make it easy. It's not comfortable, and I don't know about you, but it's been a really uncomfortable few weeks for me, and I have felt very much like I was mentally, because my natal Mercury is at 22 degrees of Capricorn, all of last year, my kind of mental clarity, I suppose, was really tested and taken down to the depths, and my mental health was like worse than it's ever been. And I said to somebody over the weekend, I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I've learned nothing. I'm right back where I was this time last year, and I've got the same thoughts and ideas, and oh my God. But I know that's not true. Deep down, I know there's been a lot of change and a lot of evolution. I think it's circumstantial this time, in that the UK lockdown just makes things a lot more difficult, and excuse me, don't have that opportunity to discuss with people face to face. And for me, I get a lot out of discussing face to face. I'm not very good at FaceTimes because I find them a bit barrieristic. Is that a word? You know, the actual barrier of having the phone there, I just find it, I don't know, there's a lack of I'm coming up with all sorts of words today. Tactility. Aquarius is the inventor, and with Mercury in Aquarius, that's what I'm doing. I'm inventing new words. You can't get the feel for somebody so much, can you? And pick up on nuances, and that's very much kind of how I interact with people, is I suppose body language and just a feeling, and that whole sense of being intuitive and empathic, which gets cut off somehow with the barrier of a phone or a screen in front of you. And again, phone calls, like you can't see the other person. I just find it all very weird. So for me, my favourite form of communication is in person, or like a messaging service where I can completely kind of hide behind the screen, but I can also consider my responses to people, I suppose, which is what I think a lot of people do. Why was I saying that? Oh yeah, so I think because Pluto is travelling with this new moon, it's really about where have we shed the skin, what is our new skin made of, what are we taking into the future now, and what can we build. So going into the usual symbolisms that I would go into in these podcasts is that new moon in Capricorn is all about what can we build, and what can we build in a slow, steady fashion to last the test of time. So imagine building a castle, not building a 15-year perma structure that is not going to stand the test of time. What can you build that's going to last 800 years instead of a really short amount of time? It's that sense, what can I build? I always think of Capricorn energy as being like parents or adults that work really hard to leave something behind for their children. That's like a very kind of traditional classical view of parenting, and Capricorn is all about traditions and doing the done thing, or the right thing, inverted commas. It's very much focused on like, oh, am I behaving? Am I living up to some sort of societal preconception about the kind of textbook way of living, I suppose, which is positive and negative in equal respect, I would have thought. Oh, now I can hear my neighbours rustling around. Sorry. Recording this from my living room today. My phone is telling me that I don't have any storage space left, so I better wrap this up. I was hoping to do this in one video, but never mind. So yeah, very briefly, look to set your new intentions for this new moon in Capricorn at 23 degrees of Capricorn. Look to see which house it falls in. If it's in your 5th house, this will be linked to children, creativity, your light, how you shine in the world. If it's linked to your 11th house, this is friendships. Or is it falling in your 2nd house to do with work and finances and your talents, how you earn your money? Or your 3rd house to do with your ideas, learning. Try again. Let's see how much memory I've managed to free up by using those deletions. Or is it falling in your 1st house and it's all to do with me, and the body and the self, and kind of really looking at how you appear to others in the world? That's what our 1st house and our ascendant angle are all about. Whew. So yeah, it's time for a new beginning. And Capricorn is very work linked as well, so this could be to do with your career and your profession and how you kind of climb the professional ladder and the rewards that come about from putting in the hard, sustained effort. Remember that Capricorn is Saturn ruled, so anything that is to do with Saturn is also to do with Capricorn. Saturn rules being very much about old father time, barriers and obstacles put in the way to help us learn lessons. And if you are constantly coming up against a barrier, kind of questioning that, and then as to why do I keep coming up against this barrier? Am I not moving in the right direction? Am I not working with the planetary energies at this, that are most potent at this time? That's an important one to think about as well. So when it's a Capricorn new moon, and with Pluto in Capricorn as well, this is for example, this is a polar opposite sign of Cancer. And so this is very much thinking about work and life out there in the world instead of the home, which is Cancer themes. And family, and you know, it can be, how do you use the Capricorn energies to provide for your family? That's a very Capricorn energy, very Saturn energy, but it's less focused on being in the home. And it's ironic, really, considering that people in the UK at the moment are very much in the home and locked down. But it's like, how, you know, maybe this is relevant to the lockdown, really. You know, nothing's chance or coincidence, some may say, or some may think. And maybe this is finding new ways. This new moon is a great way to explore new ways. Sorry, I need some lip balm. Such a dried out experience at the moment. Finding new ways to work from home and new ways to integrate a work life into, like, work life and health balance, really. Family health, I really mean. Working from home used to really be a bit of a pinnacle for me, like a real apex desire. And now that I have it, it's a really odd one. I actually really miss getting out and about, and, you know, not forgetting that the North Node is still in Gemini. This is very much about getting out and exploring our locality and interacting with people. And when that's not an option, it definitely doesn't feed my soul, that's for sure. I need to be out and about, and you know, I've got natal North Node in Gemini, so this needs, during a nodal return, and you can check if you're having your nodal return as well. If you're aged 36, then this is highly likely, like me, or they're every 18 years. So 36 plus 18 or 36 minus 18. I believe that is 18, the age of 18, 36, and then another number that I just can't even think about right now. Can't calculate. But yeah, and finding how can you continue to feed that need to get out and about and source new information, but trying to do it from home. It's really challenging energies, isn't it? I don't think it's an energy anybody would choose. I know some people find lockdown far less stressful than others. Some people really like to be at home, and that is just where they're comfortable. I do really like to retreat to my home, but I like to know it's a place of safety. I don't like to be in it all the time because I just get cabin fever. And I need interaction with people, with humans, like I was saying about the screen being there. I can't get over the screen. I need to get through the screen. I need to get to the people. And, you know, I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that way. Anyway, so sorry for the short segments on this, all being blended together. I hope my editing skills work well. I don't think they will. Sorry, I've got something stuck on my finger now. And my stairgate just fell down. Luckily, with nobody attached to it, it just fell. So now I need to try and fix my stairgate. And I was just trying to delete some stuff from my phone to free up some memory so that I can put this podcast out. The energies are not working with me today, but however, they are slightly more with me than they were last week. So I guess all that's left to say is, if you would like a moon phase reading for the next 12 months, then please get in touch. And they are £25 hand-bound readings, which is a collaboration project between myself and Phil Powney. And it gives you the exact details of your personal moon phases for the next 12 months. So all your new moons and full moons and where they fall in your birth chart. So which house they're in and any aspects that they might make to your personal planets. And they're really useful for manifesting and living with more intention and bringing about your biggest desires, really. And when I look back over 2020 and the way in which I used my new moons and full moons, I can absolutely see that I was living with far more intention, and that I'm kind of where I am right now as a result of all of the hard work that I put into those particular lunar phases last year, as well as all of the Saturn Pluto stuff. Oh dear, right, now I need to go and try and splice all these videos together. It was lovely talking to you, and as always, if you have any comments or feedback, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message. And let's see what plans come up for the development of the Astrology Blueprint podcast in 2021. Happy New Year, everybody, and have a blessed full moon. No, have a blessed new moon.